unleashing your inner giant, the courage to conquer self doubt. Welcome to the Black CEO Podcast. Today, we're diving into a topic that touches every single one of us, whether we care to admit it or not. I recently had the extraordinary privilege of interviewing India Taylor, a true luminary in the realm of personal development and self empowerment. India's work in helping individuals face their fears and overcome seemingly insurmountable obstacles has been nothing short of revolutionary. Her unwavering dedication to making the world a better place, one confident soul at a time, is profoundly inspiring. The insights I gained from our conversation have the power to fundamentally transform the way we approach life's challenges and our own potential. Have you ever caught yourself wondering what your life might look like if you could simply stop caring about what others think? If you could somehow mute that incessant nagging voice of self doubt and fully embrace your true potential? It's an enticing thought, isn't it? But for many of us, it feels like a far off fantasy, a dream beyond our grasp. We find ourselves so entangled in the web of others' expectations and our own deep seated insecurities that we can't even begin to see a way out. But what if I told you that the key to unlocking your confidence and unleashing your full potential is closer than you think? What if it's been right there within you all along? During my eye opening conversation with India Taylor, she shared a story that perfectly encapsulates this idea. It's about a young woman named Sarah whose dream of starting her own sustainable fashion line had been smoldering within her for years. Sarah had this brilliant, innovative idea that could potentially revolutionize the industry. But every time she even considered taking that first crucial step, she found herself paralyzed by an overwhelming tsunami of fear. What if people laughed at her? What if she failed spectacularly? What if she simply wasn't good enough? For years, Sarah allowed these fears to hold her hostage. She watched from the sidelines as others pursued their dreams, took risks, and built the lives they wanted, all while she remained stuck in a job that slowly drained her soul. But then something changed. Sarah attended one of India's workshops on building self esteem and confronting fear head on. During this transformative experience, India challenged Sarah to do something that absolutely terrified her every single day for an entire week. Now, I can almost hear you thinking, every day for a week, that sounds like torture. And you're not wrong. At first, Sarah was beyond reluctant. The mere thought of intentionally putting herself in uncomfortable situations made her stomach churn and her palms sweat. But something inside her, perhaps that long dormant spark of her true self, pushed her to give it a try. On the first day, with her heart pounding like a jackhammer, Sarah struck up a conversation with a complete stranger on the bus. On the second day, she found herself on stage at a local bar, microphone in hand, belting out karaoke in front of a crowd of bemused onlookers. And by the end of that transformative week, she had mustered up the courage to pitch her business idea to a potential investor. Now, here's the kicker, the part that really drives home the lesson. None of these experiences went perfectly. Far from it. The stranger on the bus was a bit gruff and clearly not in the mood for chit chat. During her karaoke performance, Sarah forgot the lyrics and ended up improvising half the song. And that investor, well, he didn't immediately jump on board with her idea, peppering her with tough questions instead. But you know what? Sarah survived. Not only did she survive, but she also had an epiphany that would change the course of her life. The anticipation of these experiences, the fear and anxiety leading up to them, was far worse than the reality. The sky didn't fall, the earth didn't open up and swallow her whole. She faced her fears, and she came out the other side stronger, more confident, and with a newfound understanding of her own resilience. This story resonated with me on a profound level, and I'd bet my last dollar that it strikes a chord with many of you too. How often do we let our fears of judgment or failure hold us back from pursuing what we really want? How many dreams have we left unfulfilled? How many opportunities have we let slip through our fingers simply because we couldn't muster the courage to take that first terrifying step? India's approach to building confidence and self-esteem is refreshingly practical and, dare I say, revolutionary in its simplicity. It's not about standing in front of a mirror reciting positive affirmations until you believe them. It's not about visualizing success while sitting cross-legged on a yoga mat. While these techniques can be helpful tools in your personal development arsenal, India's method goes straight to the heart of the matter. It's about taking action. especially when we're quaking in our boots. It's about proving to ourselves through direct experience that we can handle discomfort, that we can survive rejection, and that we're far more capable than we give ourselves credit for. But let's be real for a moment, shall we? This isn't easy. The idea of intentionally putting ourselves in uncomfortable situations goes against every instinct we have. Our brains are wired to avoid pain and seek pleasure. It's a survival mechanism that served our species well for millennia. So, how do we override this natural inclination? How do we convince our primitive brains that the discomfort of growth is preferable to the comfort of stagnation? India suggests starting small. You don't have to pitch your life's work to a room full of stone faced investors on day one. Maybe you start by expressing an opinion that you'd usually keep to yourself, even if your voice shakes a little. Or perhaps you try a new hobby that you've always been curious about, but too afraid to attempt, even if you're terrible at it at first. The key is to gradually expand your comfort zone, to build your confidence muscle one rep at a time, just like you would at the gym. Now, I can almost hear some of you thinking, that's all well and good, but you don't understand my situation. I've got real obstacles in my way. And you're absolutely right. I don't know your specific circumstances, but what I do know, what India's work has shown time and time again, is that obstacles are a part of every journey worth taking. They're not roadblocks, they're opportunities for growth in disguise. India shared another story that really drove this point home, and I think it's worth sharing with you. It's about Marcus, a man in his 40s who had always harbored a secret dream of becoming a writer. But Marcus had a demanding job that consumed most of his waking hours, a family to support, and a mountain of self doubt to overcome. He convinced himself that it was too late to start, that he didn't have the time or the talent to pursue his passion. Writing was for other people, younger people, more talented people, not for him. But Marcus, inspired by India's teachings, decided to give her approach a try. He made a commitment to himself. He would write for just 15 minutes every day, no matter what. Some days, those 15 minutes were pure, unadulterated torture. He stared at a blank page, doubting every word he managed to squeeze out, feeling like a fraud with every keystroke. Other days, the words flowed more freely, and he'd find himself lost in the world he was creating. But regardless of how he felt or what he produced, Marcus showed up every day. He honored his commitment to himself and to his dream. After 6 months of this daily practice, Marcus had completed the first draft of a novel. Was it a masterpiece ready to top the bestseller list? Far from it. But it existed, which was more than he could say before. More importantly, Marcus had proven to himself that he could commit to something, that he could create, that he could push through the doubt and the fear and come out the other side with something tangible to show for it. This story illustrates a crucial point that India emphasized in our conversation. Success isn't about avoiding obstacles. It's about persisting in spite of them. We all face challenges, whether they're external, like lack of time or resources, or internal, like self doubt or fear of failure. The difference between those who achieve their goals and those who don't often comes down to one simple yet powerful factor: persistence. But persistence isn't just about gritting your teeth and pushing through by sheer force of will. It's about developing resilience, about learning to bounce back from setbacks and keep moving forward, even when every fiber of your being is screaming at you to give up. And this is where self esteem plays a crucial role. India explained that self esteem isn't just about feeling good about yourself, although that's certainly part of it. It's about having a realistic appreciation of your worth and capabilities. It's about knowing deep in your bones that you're valuable and capable, regardless of external validation or temporary setbacks. It's about understanding that your worth as a human being isn't tied to your accomplishments or failures, but is inherent in who you are. When you have strong self esteem, rejection doesn't devastate you, failure doesn't define you. You see these experiences for what they are: opportunities to learn and grow. This mindset shift is incredibly powerful. It turns every experience, good or bad, into a stepping stone toward your goals. Suddenly, the world becomes a classroom, and every interaction, every challenge, every setback becomes a lesson, an opportunity to become better, stronger, more resilient. But how do we build this kind of resilient self-esteem, how do we cultivate this powerful mindset? India suggests a three-pronged approach. First, challenge your negative self-talk. We all have an inner critic, that insidious voice that tells us we're not good enough, smart enough, or talented enough. The key is to recognize this voice for what it is, a liar. A very convincing liar, perhaps, but a liar nonetheless. When you catch yourself engaging in negative self-talk, pause and challenge those thoughts. Ask yourself, is this really true? What evidence do I have to support or refute this belief? Often you'll find that your harshest critic is the one living rent-free in your own head. Second, celebrate your successes, no matter how small. Too often we brush off our achievements or attribute them to luck. Oh, it was nothing, we say, or anyone could have done that. But acknowledging your successes and recognizing the role you played in making them happen is crucial for building self-esteem. Did you finally make that phone call you've been putting off? Celebrate it. Did you stick to your exercise routine this week? That's worth recognizing. By acknowledging these small wins, you're reinforcing your belief in your own capabilities and building a foundation of self-trust. Third, surround yourself with supportive people. The people we spend time with have a huge impact on our self-esteem and confidence. Seek out relationships with people who believe in you, who encourage you to pursue your dreams, and who offer constructive feedback rather than harsh criticism. And don't be afraid to distance yourself from those who consistently undermine your confidence or belittle your aspirations. Remember, you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Choose wisely. Now, I want to address something that often comes up when we talk about building confidence and pursuing our goals, the fear of appearing arrogant or self-centered. This is a concern that India hears frequently, especially from women and people from cultures that value humility and self-effacement. There's this pervasive idea that confidence is somehow at odds with kindness or humility, that by believing in ourselves and pursuing our goals, we're somehow being selfish or egotistical. But here's the thing. True confidence isn't about thinking you're better than everyone else. It's not about puffing yourself up at the expense of others. It's about knowing your worth and believing in your ability to learn and grow. It's about respecting yourself enough to pursue your goals and dreams. And ironically, when you have this kind of genuine confidence, you're often more able to lift others up and contribute positively to your community. India shared a beautiful analogy that really resonated with me, and I think it perfectly encapsulates this idea. She said, think of self-esteem like a cup. When your cup is empty, you have nothing to give others. But when your cup is full, it naturally overflows, benefiting those around you. By building your self-esteem and pursuing your goals, you're not just helping yourself. You're putting yourself in a position to help others too. You're becoming the best version of yourself, and that version has so much more to offer the world. As we near the end of our time together, I want to leave you with a challenge inspired by my conversation with India Taylor. For the next week, I want you to do one thing each day that scares you. It doesn't have to be big. Remember, we're starting small. Maybe it's speaking up in a meeting when you usually stay quiet. Maybe it's trying a new recipe you've always thought was beyond your culinary skills. Maybe it's finally starting that blog you've been thinking about for years. Maybe it's telling someone you care about how you really feel. Whatever it is, do it. Feel the fear, acknowledge it, thank it for trying to keep you safe, and do it anyway. Then at the end of each day, take a moment to reflect. How did it feel to push past your comfort zone? What did you learn about yourself? How can you apply this lesson going forward? Remember, building confidence and self-esteem is a journey, not a destination. There will be setbacks along the way. There will be days when your inner critic seems louder than ever. There will be times when you feel like you're taking 2 steps forward and 1 step back. But with each small step, with each challenge you overcome, you're proving to yourself that you're capable of more than you ever imagined. In the words of India Taylor, your potential is limitless. The only question is, are you brave enough to explore it? So I ask you, are you ready to start your journey? Are you ready to build the confidence to pursue your dreams, to silence your inner critic, to become the person you've always known you could be? The choice is yours. But know this, you are capable, you are worthy, and you have everything you need to start right now. So take that first step, embrace the discomfort, feel the fear, and do it anyway. Because on the other side of that fear is growth. is confidence, is the life you've always dreamed of living. Your journey to unleashing your inner giant starts now. It starts with a single brave act. What will yours be today? Will you continue to play small to hide your light from the world? Or will you stand up, step forward, and claim your rightful place in this world? The world needs your unique gifts, your voice, your perspective. It needs your courage, your creativity, your compassion. It needs you to be big, to be bold, to be brilliantly, unapologetically you. So go forth, be brave, be bold, be you. Because when you unleash your inner giant, when you step into your true power and potential, you don't just change your own life, you change the world. Thank you for joining me on the Black CEO Podcast. Now go out there and make some noise. The world is waiting for you.